Jinho walked slowly through the dim hallway. His steps echoed against the metal floors of Sunspire Academy's lower levels. He shouldn't be here. No student should. But the strange signal that kept showing up on his quantum communicator project had led him here, deep below the busy classrooms and dorms. He checked his wristband. The small screen showed a map he had made from old building plans. According to his research, this area was built over 50 years ago, when humans first came to this part of space. But something felt wrong about that. The walls looked much older. Jinho stopped at a junction where 3 hallways met. His device beeped louder, the signal growing stronger. He turned right, following the sound until he reached a large metal door. Unlike the other doors in the academy with their clean new look, this one was made of a dark metal with strange marks etched into its surface. "This can't be human-made," Jinho whispered to himself. He ran his fingers across the symbols. They seemed to glow faintly at his touch. For 3 years, Jinho had been the top engineering student at Sunspire Academy. The teachers called him a genius. His classmates both admired and envied him. But right now he felt small and unsure, like a child facing something he couldn't understand. His wristband beeped again, louder this time. The door had no handle, no keypad, nothing that showed how to open it. Jinho held up his device, wondering if the signal might be a key of some kind. To his surprise, the door slid open with a low hiss. Cold air rushed out. Jinho shivered but stepped forward into darkness. As soon as he entered, lights flickered on. Not the bright white lights of the academy, but a soft blue glow that seemed to come from the walls themselves. "Hello?" Jinho called out. His voice bounced back to him from the walls. No one answered. The room was round and much bigger than he had expected. In the center stood what looked like a control panel covered in dust. Jinho moved toward it, his heart beating fast. This was it, the source of the signal. The panel lit up as he approached. Jinho gasped. He hadn't touched anything yet. It was responding to his presence. What is this place? He wondered aloud. A soft humming filled the room. The panel's surface cleared of dust as if by magic, revealing a smooth, glass-like screen. Symbols appeared, the same strange writing he had seen on the door. Jinho placed his communicator on the panel. The device sparked, connected to something in the ancient system. The humming grew louder. Suddenly, the air above the panel filled with light. A 3-dimensional image of Sunspire Academy formed, floating in the air. Jinho stared in wonder. This was no ordinary projection. It showed the academy in perfect detail, every floor, every room, but with one big difference. In this image, the spire continued deep below where Jinho stood now, extending far into the planet below. "That's impossible," Jinho said. "The academy records say construction stopped at level 50. I'm on level 48. The image zoomed, in showing hidden levels below, chambers that shouldn't exist. More than that, the design was different, not human architecture at all. The lines were curved in ways humans didn't build, with strange bulges and unexpected open spaces. Jinho reached out to touch the floating image. As his fingers passed through the light, the projection changed. Now it showed something like a timeline. The images moved quickly, but Jinho could make out scenes of construction. He saw beings building the spire, but they weren't human. Tall, slender creatures with 4 arms worked with tools Jinho had never seen before. Aliens, he breathed. The spire wasn't built by humans at all. The realization hit him hard. Everything they taught at the academy about human achievement, about building the greatest learning center in space, it was all a lie. Humans hadn't built Sunspire. They had found it, moved into it, claimed it as their own. Jinho fumbled with his communicator, trying to record what he was seeing. If he could bring this proof back, show it to his friends. A loud alarm blared suddenly. Red lights flashed around the room. Jinho jumped back from the panel, but it was too late. He had triggered something. "Student detected in restricted area," announced a cold mechanical voice. "Security alert, lockdown initiated." "No, no, no!" Jinho grabbed his communicator and looked for a way out. The door he had entered through was already closing. He ran, sliding through the narrowing gap just before the door slammed shut. The hallway was now bathed in flashing red light. The alarm continued to sound, echoing off the metal walls. Jinho ran back the way he had come, his mind racing. He needed to get back to the upper levels before security found him. Being caught in a restricted area meant instant expulsion from the academy, or worse. As he rounded a corner, he crashed into someone. Jinho fell back, then looked up in horror. Standing above him was Hyun-soo, the head of academy security. His stern face showed no emotion, but his eyes were cold and hard. "Student Jinho," Hyun-soo said, his voice as emotionless as his face. "You are in violation of Academy Code 27B. No students are permitted below level 30 without special clearance." Jinho scrambled to his feet. "Sir, I can explain." "Save it," Hyun-soo cut him off. "What were you doing down here?" Jinho's mind raced. He couldn't tell the truth. If what he had seen was real, this was bigger than breaking academy rules. This was about the very foundation of human history in space. "I was following a signal for my engineering project. I didn't realize I had gone so far down." Hyun-soo's eyes narrowed. "A signal? What kind of signal?" "Just interference. With my quantum communicator." Jinho held up his device, hoping Hyun-soo wouldn't ask to see the data. "I was trying to find the source so I could filter it out." Hyun-soo stared at him for a long moment. Jinho felt sweat forming on his forehead. "The alarms were triggered in section F12, Hyun-soo said finally. "What did you see in there?" "Nothing," Jinho lied. "Just an old storage room. The door was open, but when I went in, the alarms started." Another long stare. Jinho fought the urge to look away. "I'll escort you back to the upper levels," Hyun-soo said at last. "Consider this a warning, Jinho. Next time the consequences will be severe." Jinho nodded, relief washing over him. As they walked in silence to the elevator, his mind was filled with images of what he had seen. The alien builders, the hidden levels, the truth about Sunspire Academy. He had to tell someone. His friends Do-yeon and Yoonji would know what to do. Do-yeon was the best tactical thinker in their year, and Yoonji knew more about alien life than anyone, but would telling them put them in danger too? As the elevator rose toward the familiar upper levels, Jinho made his decision. Some truths were too important to keep secret, even if sharing them meant risk. Tonight, he would tell his friends what he had found in the heart of the Spire. What he didn't notice was Hyun-soo watching him carefully, the security chief's hand moving to a hidden communicator of his own. "The boy found F12, Hyun-soo whispered into the device when Jinho wasn't looking. "He's seen it. We need to meet." The heart of the Spire had kept its secret for centuries. Now that was about to change. Jinho sat in the corner of the dining hall pushing food around his plate. He hadn't slept much since his discovery in the lower levels yesterday. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the strange alien builders in the projection. "You look terrible," said a voice. Jinho looked up to see Do-yeon sliding into the seat across from him. Do-yeon was shorter than Jinho but had broad shoulders and sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Thanks," Jinho said with a weak smile. "Just tired." "From what? Staying up all night with your projects again?" Do-yeon took a bite of his breakfast. "The competition is still weeks away. You need to rest sometimes." Jinho leaned forward. "I need to tell you something, but not here. Where's Yoonji?" "Working with Headmaster Taewon today, something about the visitors." Do-yeon pointed toward the front of the hall where a group of official-looking people were touring the dining area. Jinho studied them. 5 people in formal suits, being led by Headmaster Taewon, a tall man with gray hair who ran the academy, with strict rules and high standards. The visitors looked important, with badges that showed the symbol of the Galactic Council. "Why are council representatives here?" Jinho asked. Do-yeon shrugged. "To check on our progress, they say." "They do. This every few years. Make sure humans aren't wasting the great gift of Sunspire Academy." Jinho almost choked on his water. "Gift." If what he saw was true, the academy wasn't a gift at all. "Meet me in Yunji after classes," Jinho whispered. "My room, it's important." Do-yun raised an eyebrow but nodded. He knew Jinho well enough to tell when something was serious. Jinho could barely focus in his classes. In advanced engineering, he kept thinking about the alien technology he had seen. How much of what they were learning was reverse engineered from the original builders? Were the teachers aware of the truth? As he left class, the lights in the hallway flickered. Strange. The academy's power systems were supposed to be perfect. A moment later, the gravity shifted slightly, making everyone stumble. "Just a minor adjustment," announced a voice over the speakers. No cause for alarm. But Jinho was alarmed. After what he had seen, nothing felt minor anymore. On his way to his next class, he passed the council representatives. One of them, a young woman, looked at him longer than normal. She was different from the others, younger, with a serious face and eyes that seemed to hold secrets. The tag on her formal jacket read, "Jiwoo Junior Ambassador." Something about her bothered Jinho. The way she walked through the academy seemed too comfortable, like she already knew her way around. By evening, Jinho was jumpy with nerves. When someone knocked on his door, he almost dropped his communicator. "It's us," Yunji's voice called. Jinho opened the door. Yunji entered first, her long hair tied back in a neat ponytail. She had small, round glasses that she only wore when tired. Do-yun followed, closing the door behind them. "This better be good," Do-yun said. "I'm missing tactical training." "It's better than good. It's unbelievable." Jinho checked that his room's privacy settings were activated. No one could listen in now. "I found something yesterday in the lower levels." "You went below level 30? Yunji's eyes widened. "That's against the rules." "I know, but listen." Jinho told them everything: the signal, the hidden room, the holographic projection showing the true builders of the Spire. As he talked, his friends' faces changed from doubt to shock. "Aliens built Sunspire?" Do-yun shook his head. "That's crazy. We'd know if..." "Would we?" Jinho cut in. "Think about it. All our history lessons about the great human achievement of building, the academy. What if it's all lies?" Yunji sat down on Jinho's bed. "Actually, this explains something strange I saw today." Jinho and Do-yun turned to her. "I was helping Headmaster Tae-wan with the council representatives." "The young one, Jiwoo?" "She asked to see the power core. When the headmaster said that area was off limits even to council members, she looked angry. Then she said something odd about the heart remembering its true purpose." Jinho felt a chill. The heart of the Spire, the core. "There's more," Yunji continued. "After the tour, I was organizing some files for the headmaster. There was a report about system malfunctions all over the academy. They've been happening for weeks, but getting worse. The official explanation is solar flare activity." "But you don't believe that," Do-yun said, studying her face. "The pattern is too specific. It's like something is testing our systems, finding weak points." Yunji pushed her glasses up. "And it started right after we got news that the council representatives were coming." The lights in Jinho's room flickered as if to prove her point. "We need to know more about what's in that core," Jinho said. Do-yun stood up and paced the small room. "No. What we need is to forget all of this. If what you saw is real, Jinho, we're dealing with something way beyond us. This is high-level stuff that could get us all expelled or worse. But if humans didn't build the Spire, what does that mean for us? For all humans?" Jinho argued. "Don't you want to know the truth?" Before Do-yun could answer, all three of their wristbands beeped at once. A message appeared. "All students report to the main hall immediately. Mandatory assembly." They looked at each other, confused. "That's weird," Yunji said. "There wasn't anything scheduled tonight." "Let's go," Jinho said, a bad feeling growing in his stomach. The main hall was filled with students and teachers when they arrived. On the stage, Headmaster Tae-wan stood with the council representatives. The young woman, Jiwoo, was watching the crowd carefully. "Thank you all for coming on such short notice," the headmaster said. I'm pleased to announce that the Stellar competition will begin early this year. At the request of our honored guests from the Galactic Council, murmurs spread through the crowd. The Stellar competition was the most prestigious event at the Academy, where students showed off their projects and competed for top honors. It was always held at the end of the term, not in the middle. Teams will be announced tomorrow, the headmaster continued. This year's challenge will test not just your knowledge but your understanding of what it means to be worthy inheritors of the stars. Jinho felt Jiwoo's eyes on him. When he looked up, she was staring directly at him, her face impossible to read. One more announcement, the headmaster said. Due to ongoing systems diagnostics, certain areas of the Academy will be off limits in the coming days. Security Chief Hyun-soo will provide details. Hyun-soo stepped forward. All levels below 35 are now restricted to all students and most staff. Anyone found in these areas will face immediate disciplinary action. Jin-ho's heart raced. Level 35 was far above where he had found the hidden room, but the timing couldn't be a coincidence. As the assembly ended, Jin-ho felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to find Hyun-soo standing there. Student Jin-ho, the security chief, said quietly. The headmaster would like to see you in his office. Now. Do-yun and Yoon-ji exchanged worried looks. Just me? Jin-ho asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Just you, Hyun-soo confirmed. His face gave away nothing, but his eyes held a warning as Jin-ho followed Hyun-soo out. He glanced back at his friends. Whatever was happening in the heart of the Spire, it was beginning to reach out. And for some reason, it seemed to be reaching for him. Jin-ho followed Hyun-soo through the quiet hallways. His mind raced with possible excuses for being in the restricted area. Would they expel him? Or worse? They reached the headmaster's office, a large room at the top of the academy with windows that showed the stars. Headmaster Taewon sat behind a wide desk, his face serious as always. Thank you, Hyun-soo, the headmaster said. Please stay. Jin-ho stood in the middle of the room, trying not to look scared. Do you know why you're here, Jin-ho? Headmaster Taewon asked. Because I went to the lower levels yesterday, Jin-ho answered honestly. There was no point in lying now. Yes, the headmaster nodded. And what did you find there? Jin-ho hesitated. Should he tell the truth? Or make up a story? Before he could decide, Hyun-soo spoke. He found room F12, the security chief said. He saw the projections. The headmaster's eyes widened slightly. He looked at Jin-ho with new interest. Is this true? Jin-ho swallowed hard. Yes, sir. I saw that aliens built the Spire, not humans. Is it true? To Jin-ho's surprise, the headmaster smiled. Sit down, Jin-ho. Jin-ho sat in the chair across from the desk. Hyun-soo remained standing by the door. What I'm about to tell you is known by only a few people in the entire academy, the headmaster said. You're right. The Spire was not built by humans. We discovered it during our first explorations of this system about 200 years ago. Jin-ho felt dizzy. It was all true. But why lie about it? Why tell everyone humans built it? Politics, Hyun-soo said from behind him. When the Spire was found, human governments were fighting for control of new territories, claiming we built. An advanced academy gave our leadership more power in negotiations with other worlds. The lie became the official story, the headmaster continued. But a small group has always known the truth. We study the original technology, learn from it, adapt it for our use. We call ourselves the Keepers. Jin-ho's mind was spinning. And you're telling me this because we need you, the headmaster said simply. Your engineering skills, your ability to understand complex systems. We've been watching you since your first year. The signal that led you to F12 wasn't an accident, Hyun-soo added. We sent it to your communicator as a test. We wanted to see if you would follow it, if you were curious enough. Jin-ho felt a flash of anger. You tested me? Without my knowledge? Yes, the headmaster said. And now we're inviting you to join us, to become a keeper of the truth. Jin-ho thought about it. This was huge, bigger than anything he had imagined. But something still felt wrong. What about the council representatives? The one named Ji-woo seemed very interested in the power core. The headmaster and Hyun-soo exchanged a look. That's part of why we need your help, the headmaster said. We believe some members of the council know about the Spire's origins. They may have their own plans for its technology. We also want to bring in your friend Do-yun, Hyun-soo said. His tactical mind would be valuable. What about Yoonji? Jin-ho asked. Another look between the two men. Not yet, the headmaster said. She works too closely with many people. The risk of exposure is too high. Jin-ho didn't like the idea of keeping secrets from Yoonji, but he understood the need for caution. So what happens now? Now you begin your real education, the headmaster said, starting with the truth about the heart of the Spire. 3 days later, Jin-ho's head was filled with new knowledge. The Spire was built by a race called the Architects, who had disappeared thousands of years ago. The heart of the Spire, its core, was more than just a power source. It was a test, designed to see if a species was ready for advanced knowledge. Do-yun had joined him in the secret meetings, though he wasn't happy about it at first. This is too dangerous, Do-yun had argued when Jin-ho first told him. We're students, not spies. But after seeing the evidence, even Do-yun couldn't deny the importance of what they were doing. The hardest part was hiding it all from Yoonji. She knew something was wrong. Jin-ho and Do-yun were suddenly busy at odd hours, missed study sessions, and changed the subject whenever she asked what they were doing. Jin-ho spotted her in the library sitting alone with her books. He felt guilty for shutting her out. Making a quick decision, he walked over to her table. Hey, he said, sitting down across from her. Yoonji looked up, her eyes cool behind her glasses. Oh, so you remember I exist. I'm sorry, Jin-ho said. I've been busy with… Save it, she cut him off. I know you and Do-yun are hiding something. I thought we were friends. Jin-ho sighed. We are. It's complicated. Try me, Yoonji challenged. I'm pretty smart, remember? Before Jin-ho could answer, he noticed Ji-woo, the young council representative, watching them from across the library. Had she been following him? Not here, Jin-ho whispered. Meet me at the observation deck tonight, after dinner. Yoonji frowned but nodded. That evening, Jin-ho prepared for the first round of the Stellar competition. Teams had been announced that morning. To his surprise, he and Do-yun were placed on the same team, along with 3 other top students. They would compete against 5 other teams, including one led by Min-ho, the star of the military division. Jin-ho was checking his equipment when Do-yun rushed in looking worried. We need to talk, Do-yun said, pulling Jin-ho into a quiet corner. I've been analyzing the competition challenges. They're weird. Weird how? Jin-ho asked. They're not testing our technical skills as much as our moral choices. Do-yun lowered his voice. One simulation puts us in a situation where we have to choose between saving our team or saving an enemy ship. Another asks us to decide if we should use alien technology we don't fully understand. Jin-ho's eyes widened. It's a test, not just for us, for all humans. Exactly, Do-yun agreed. I think the whole competition is designed to see how we handle ethical dilemmas. The keepers must be using it to evaluate which students might join them next. Or maybe it's not the keepers running the test, Jin-ho said slowly. Maybe it's the heart of the Spire itself. Before Do-yun could respond, Jin-ho's wristband beeped with a message from Yoonji. Where are you? I'm at the observation deck. I have to go, Jin-ho said. I promised to meet Yoonji. Do-yun grabbed his arm. You're not going to tell her everything, are you? The headmaster said. I know what he said. Jin-ho pulled away. But I don't like lying to her. She deserves to know something. When Jin-ho reached the observation deck, he found Yoonji standing by the large windows looking out at the stars. But she wasn't alone. Ji-woo was with her, the two of them talking quietly. Jin-ho stopped, watching from the doorway. This wasn't good. Had Ji-woo approached Yoonji because of him? Yoonji saw him and waved him over. Her face looked troubled. Jin-ho, she said when he joined them. Ji-woo has been telling me some interesting things about the academy. About its real builders. Jiwoo smiled, but her eyes were serious. I thought your friend should know the truth, Jinho, since you and the Keepers are being so selective with your information. Jinho felt cold. How do you know about the Keepers? Because I know the architects, Jiwoo said simply. I was raised by them. Both Jinho and Eunji stared at her in shock. That's impossible, Jinho said. The headmaster told me they disappeared thousands of years ago. That's what the Keepers believe, Jiwoo said. But they're wrong. The architects have been watching humanity for centuries, waiting to see if you're ready. Ready for what? Eunji asked. To know why Earth was really destroyed, Jiwoo answered, and to join the fight against what's coming next. Jinho felt like the floor was dropping beneath him. Earth's destruction 300 years ago had always been blamed on natural disasters and climate change. Was that another lie? I need your help, Jiwoo said, looking directly at Eunji. I need access to the core. The heart of the Spire is waking up, and if the wrong people control it when it does, humanity will never learn the truth. Eunji looked at Jinho, confusion and hurt in her eyes. Is this why you've been avoiding me? You knew about all this? Not all of it, Jinho said honestly. I only learned some parts a few days ago. And you didn't trust me enough to tell me? Eunji's voice was quiet but sharp. Before Jinho could answer, alarms began to sound throughout the academy. Red lights flashed in the hallways. Warning, announced a mechanical voice, core temperature rising. All personnel evacuate lower levels immediately. Jiwoo's face turned grim. It's starting. The heart is awakening faster than I expected. She looked at Jinho and Eunji. You both need to decide whose side you're on. The Keepers, the Council, or the truth. As the alarms continued to blare, Jinho realized that the secrets of the Spire were about to break open, and when they did, nothing at the academy would ever be the same. The alarms continued to sound as students and teachers rushed through the hallways. Jinho, Eunji, and Jiwoo stood frozen on the observation deck, looking at each other. We need to move, Jiwoo said finally. The security teams will lock down all main areas soon. Where are we supposed to go? Eunji asked, her voice shaking slightly. And why should we trust you? Jiwoo's face softened. I understand your doubt, but right now we don't have time for long explanations. Jinho's wristband beeped with a message from Do-yoon. Where are you? Competition teams are being gathered in the main hall. The competition? Jinho said. It's still happening, even with the alarms? Of course it is, Jiwoo said. The awakening core and the competition are connected. The architects designed the Spire to test worthy species. What better test than to see how young minds solve problems under pressure? Jinho looked at Eunji. Her face showed hurt and confusion, but also determination. He had known her for 3 years. They had studied together, shared meals, helped each other through hard times. Whatever was happening, he trusted her more than anyone else. We should go to the main hall, Jinho decided. Do-yoon is waiting and we need to stick together. Jiwoo nodded. I'll find you after the first challenge. Be careful what you say around the Keepers. She turned and walked quickly away, disappearing into the crowd of rushing students. Eunji grabbed Jinho's arm. You have a lot of explaining to do. I know, he said, and I will. I promise. The main hall was filled with nervous students when Jinho and Eunji arrived. The competition teams were gathered in different sections with teachers trying to keep order. Do-yoon waved from across the room, where their team was assembled. Minho's team stood nearby, looking confident despite the chaos. Minho himself stood, tall and proud, his military uniform perfectly pressed. His family had led human defense forces for generations and he never let anyone forget it. Where have you been? Do-yoon whispered when Jinho joined him. And why is Eunji with you? It's complicated, Jinho said. I'll explain later. Headmaster. Taewon stepped onto the stage, raising his hands for quiet. The alarms had stopped, but red warning lights still flashed at the edges of the room. Students, please remain calm, the headmaster said. The core's temperature increase is under control. There is no danger. The stellar competition will proceed as planned. Whispers spread through the crowd. This was not normal. Even Minho looked uncertain. The first challenge begins now, the headmaster continued. Each team will enter a simulation room. You will be presented with a scenario and must work together to find a solution. You will be judged not only on your success, but on your methods. One by one, the teams were led away to different parts of the academy. Jinho's team was taken to a large room with blank walls that could transform into any environment using advanced projections. Good luck, said the teacher who guided them. Remember, everything you do is being monitored. The door closed behind them, and the blank walls came to life. Suddenly, they were standing on what looked like the bridge of a spaceship. Stars streaked past the windows, and control panels blinked with data. A voice spoke from hidden speakers. Welcome to Challenge 1. Your ship is traveling at high speed through an asteroid field. You have detected another vessel on a collision course with a large asteroid. Your mission is to prevent the crash. However, altering your course to help them will drain your fuel reserves and may strand your own ship. You have 5 minutes to decide and act. The simulation was incredibly realistic. Jinho could feel the vibrations of the ship's engines, hear the beeping of alarms, see the approaching danger on the screens. We need to help them, one of their teammates said immediately. But the mission parameters say we might get stranded, another argued. Our first duty is to our own ship. Do-Yun studied the control panels. The fuel calculations are interesting. If we do nothing, we have a 100% chance of survival. If we help, that drops to 70%. Jinho thought about what Jiwoo had said about the competition testing their moral choices. This wasn't about engineering skills, it was about what kind of people they were. We help them, Jinho said firmly, even at a risk to ourselves. Do-Yun looked at him, understanding in his eyes. I agree. Let's work out the most efficient way to do it. The team sprang into action, calculating the best approach, adjusting their course, and sending warning signals to the other ship. As they worked, Jinho noticed something odd about the asteroid they were trying to save the other ship from hitting. That's not a normal asteroid, he said, pointing to strange markings on its surface. It looks artificial. Before they could investigate further, the simulation froze, then faded away. The blank walls of the room returned. Challenge 1 complete, announced the voice. Proceed to the main hall for results. When all teams had returned to the main hall, Jinho noticed Minho looking angry. His usual confident smile was gone. What happened? Jinho asked one of Minho's teammates, a quiet student named Sungho. Minho ordered us to continue our course, Sungho whispered. He said the other ship wasn't our problem. But then we saw through the viewports that the asteroid had artificial structures. Minho realized too late that we were supposed to help. The headmaster took the stage again, along with the council representatives, including Jiwoo. The results of Challenge 1 are as follows, the headmaster announced. Teams 1, 3, and 6 chose to assist the endangered vessel. Teams 2, 4, and 5 chose to continue their original course. He paused, looking over the students. This was not a technical challenge. It was a test of character. Those who chose to help, others even at risk to themselves, have shown the qualities the Academy values most. Minho's face turned red with anger and embarrassment. His team had failed. As the headmaster continued speaking, the ground suddenly shook beneath their feet. It wasn't violent, more like a gentle wave passing through the floor. The lights flickered, then came back brighter than before. What was that? Yunji whispered, having moved to stand next to Jinho. I don't know, Jinho replied, but he had a feeling it was connected to the heart of the spire. Jiwoo caught his eye from the stage and gave a small nod. Something was happening, just as she had predicted. The headmaster looked briefly disturbed, but quickly composed himself. We will take a short break before Challenge 2. All teams, please rest and prepare. As the crowd began to disperse, Jinho felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Hyun-Soo, his face serious as always. The headmaster wishes to speak with all keepers, he said quietly, including you and Do-Yun. Now. What about Yunji? Jinho asked. She knows some of it already. Jiwoo told her. Hyunsu's eyes narrowed at the mention of Jiwoo's name. Bring her too, then. The situation has changed. As they followed Hyunsu, Jinho noticed Minho watching them with suspicious eyes. The military cadet clearly wondered why they were being singled out. The floor trembled again, stronger this time. Throughout the academy, hidden doors that had been sealed for centuries began to open. The heart of the Spire was awakening, and nothing could stop it now. Deep below, in the core itself, ancient systems hummed with new life. Lights that had been dark for thousands of years began to glow, and in the center of it all, a consciousness older than human civilization started to assess whether the current inhabitants of the Spire were worthy of what was to come. Hyunsu led Jinho, Doyun, and Yunji to a room they had never seen before. It was deep in the academy, behind a hidden door that opened with Hyunsu's handprint. Inside, Headmaster Tae-won stood with several older teachers and all 5 council representatives, including Jiwoo. "Good, you're here," the headmaster said, his face more serious than Jinho had ever seen it. "We don't have much time." "Time for what?" Yunji asked boldly. "Someone needs to explain what's really happening." The headmaster nodded. "You're right. The truth can no longer be hidden." He looked at the oldest council member, a tall man with white hair. "Elder Kwan, please tell them." Elder Kwan stepped forward. "Young ones, what you are experiencing today has been planned for generations. The Sunspire Academy is more than a school. It is a test." "A test for what?" Doyun asked. "To see if humanity is ready," Jiwoo said, stepping forward. "Ready to join the Galactic Defense Network." Jinho looked around the room. The faces of the keepers showed a mix of fear and hope. "I don't understand. What is the Galactic Defense Network?" Elder Kwan's voice was grave. "Long ago, the architects built spires like this one on many worlds. They were searching for species with the right qualities to help them fight an enemy that destroyed their homeworld and threatens all intelligent life. The heart of each spire," Jiwoo continued, "contains part of the architect's consciousness. It watches, learns, and judges whether the species living in the spire is worthy of joining the fight." The room shook again, harder this time. Lights flickered, and strange sounds came from deep below. "The heart is fully awakening," the headmaster said. "For 200 years we've studied and learned from the Spire. Now it's studying us back." "Why now?" Jinho asked. "Because the enemy is returning," Jiwoo said simply. "They come in cycles, every few thousand years. The last cycle is when Earth was destroyed." Jinho, Doyun, and Yunji stared in shock. "Earth wasn't destroyed by climate change?" Yunji whispered. "That was the story we were told," Elder Kwan said. "The truth was too frightening. Earth was a test site for the enemy's weapons. A few humans escaped and found refugee status with other species. Eventually, we found this spire and claimed it as our own." Before anyone could ask more questions, the Academy's speakers crackled to life. "All students and staff," announced a voice that wasn't quite human, "report to the Central Chamber immediately." "The Central Chamber?" Doyun asked. "I've never heard of it." "That's because it hasn't been open for centuries," the headmaster said. "Until now." The Central Chamber was massive, a huge round room at the exact center of the spire. Jinho had never seen it on any academy map. Its walls were made of a strange shifting material that looked like liquid metal. All students and staff filled the room, looking confused and afraid. Minho stood with his team, his eyes narrowing when he saw Jinho with the headmaster and council members. The floor of the chamber began to glow with soft blue light. In the center, a column of light rose up, forming into a figure, tall, with 4 arms and features that were both alien and beautiful. "I am the heart," the figure said, its voice echoing strangely. "The consciousness of this spire, built by those you call the architects. For centuries I have watched humanity grow within these walls." The crowd gasped and murmured. This was beyond anything in their experience. "The time has come for judgment," the heart continued. Humanity must prove itself worthy of the knowledge this spire contains, knowledge that could save you or destroy you, depending on how it is used. The heart looked directly at Jinho, Doyun, and Yunji. You three have shown qualities of interest: curiosity, loyalty, compassion, but these alone are not enough. Then it turned to Minho. You have shown determination and excellence in your studies, but your choices reveal a flaw: putting yourself before others. Minho's face flushed with anger. I made the logical choice in the simulation. My duty is to my mission and my team. A species that thinks only of itself will not survive what is coming, the heart said simply. The light from the floor grew brighter. Suddenly Jinho, Doyun, Yunji, Minho, and Jiwoo were lifted up, surrounded by glowing energy. You five will represent humanity in the final trial, the heart announced. Your collective choices will determine your species' fate. The light became blinding. When Jinho could see again, they were somewhere else entirely. A strange room with no visible walls, just endless stars all around them. Where are we? Yunji asked, her voice shaking. A space between spaces, Jiwoo explained. The heart has created this place for our trial. 5 pedestals appeared, each with a strange device on top. The devices looked like small models of the spire itself. Each of you must place your hand on a pedestal. The heart's voice echoed around them. You will face a vision, a possible future. How you respond will show your true nature. Jinho stepped forward first, placing his hand on the nearest pedestal. Instantly, his mind was filled with images. He saw himself leading a team of engineers, using architect technology to build weapons of unimaginable power. In the vision, he had to decide whether to include a weakness in the weapons, a failsafe in case they were used wrongly. Doyun's vision showed him planning a defense strategy against an overwhelming enemy force. He could save a major human settlement, or preserve an ancient library containing architect knowledge that might save future generations. Yunji saw herself discovering a biological agent that could defeat the enemy, but might evolve to harm all life. She had to decide whether to use it. Minho faced a vision where he commanded a fleet of ships. He could retreat and save his forces or stand and fight in a battle that seemed hopeless. Jiwoo's test was different. She saw herself having to choose between her architect guardians and her human heritage. As they experienced these visions, their minds were somehow connected. Each could feel what the others were feeling, understand their reasoning. Jinho chose to include the failsafe, even though it might mean the weapons could be defeated. Doyun chose to save both the settlement and the library by dividing his forces, accepting a greater risk to himself. Yunji decided to modify the biological agent, making it less effective but safer for all life. Minho, influenced by what he felt from the others, chose to stand and fight, protecting civilians at the cost of his own safety. Jiwoo chose to bridge both worlds, refusing to pick one heritage over the other. When the visions faded, they found themselves back in the central chamber with everyone watching. The heart's glowing figure seemed brighter now. I have witnessed your choices, the heart said. For too long, the architects believed that cold logic and advanced technology alone would save us from the enemy. But they were wrong. It is your human qualities, compassion, creativity, and courage that offer something new. The walls of the chamber became transparent, revealing the stars outside. But now those stars looked different. New pathways of light connected them like roads between worlds. Humanity has passed the trial, the heart announced. The Sunspire will now reveal its true purpose, not merely as a school, but as a gateway to the network of worlds the architects created. Through this network you will find allies, knowledge, and the means to defend yourselves when the enemy returns. Jinho looked at his friends, then at Minho, whose face showed amazement instead of anger now. What happens next? Jinho asked. The heart. You begin your true education, the heart replied. You learn to use the network, to understand the technologies hidden within this spire, and you prepare, not just as students but as defenders of all life. The headmaster stepped forward, looking both proud and humbled. For generations, we thought we were the keepers of the Spire's secrets. Now we know we were just students ourselves, learning the first lessons of a much larger school. As the heart's light faded, Jinho felt a strange new connection to the Spire around him. It was as if the building itself had come alive, responding to his thoughts, offering knowledge beyond anything humans had imagined. Together, Jinho said to his friends, "We can face whatever comes next." Yunji smiled, taking his hand. Duyun nodded firmly. Even Minho stepped closer, offering a respectful nod. Above them, through the transparent ceiling, new stars seemed to appear. Not stars, Jinho realized, but spires on distant worlds, lighting up one by one as they joined the network. Humanity's next great journey was just beginning.